I was working on the presets and my internet went out, and by the time it came back on, I was late to start the hangout. But since I can see that there's nobody here but me, I'm going to go back and work on getting those presets set up properly. Just holler if you jump in here whenever you're ready. In the meantime, I'm Lydia Glider Shelley, and this is the Invisible Hand Show. And I think we're good. See, I think I got my preset saved properly. Not sure how to find it again, but we'll worry about that next time, right? Okay, well, we're here to talk about this book. And the website that we've built, if you look in the description for the show, you can get in, well, it doesn't have a link, but it has the URL. Is there anybody else here, or is this just me? I think it's still just me. Well, I guess I can talk about the system that we're trying to promote. One of the things that I like to tell people is that in fundamentally changing the way that money works, hold on, I'm sorry. Since nobody's here, I'm going to play with the light because I look like I've got liver problems here. And let me try turning off this other light here. Maybe that will help. Yeah, I think it was just too much light. Is that better? Well, again, ugh. Okay. So, a lot of the problems that come from our form of money, which is physical object money, no matter where you go, no matter what you do, even if it's electronic money in our bank accounts, it's still a representation of that physical object money. So we have problems with it, such as it can be lost, stolen, destroyed, and just the bottom line is the physical, real money that you hold in your hand, it's dirty, nasty stuff. I mean, if you ever swabbed it and tested it, even the crisper, newer bills are pretty icky. But the old, wrinkly ones, you don't even know what's on those. So using a real, actual physical object for money, it's kind of gross when you get right down to it. Electronic money is a little better, but even still, you have the problems that it can be lost, stolen, or destroyed. Even Bitcoin. I mean, if you put Bitcoin on your flash drive and then that flash drive gets run over by a truck, there goes your $1 million in Bitcoin, right? It's just gone. Excuse me. God, I'm in great shape, aren't I? Well, that's what the surgery next week is for. It's going to be on my sinuses. Hopefully after that, we'll get a good conversation going with these. And once Larry figures out how to join me here, it ought to be wonderful. Even if nobody else shows up, we can just talk and you all can benefit from our conversations. But back to physical object money versus the sort of money that we are talking about. The non-POM or non-physical object money is not anywhere the same as the money that we use today. For example, It can't be transferred from person to person. It comes into existence when you earn it and ceases to exist when you spend it. So I tell people it's more like video game points. When you earn video game points, they come into existence, and when you use or spend them, they go away. They don't go to someone else, they just disappear. You can't typically transfer video game points between players. You might be able to buy something with your points for another player, but you can't just give them your points. And that's pretty much how this money works. Overall, it is, since it's based on merit, you don't earn money unless you provide net benefit. It strips away a lot of the problems caused by our current monetary system. It's completely merit-based, but it also works in a multi-level sense. For example, if you're a teacher, first of all, you're going to get paid exponentially. The more children you teach, the more you earn. So the longer you've been a teacher, the bigger your monthly earnings will be. But you're going to be paid based on a few different criteria. You're going to be paid based on how well the children absorb the knowledge and understand it. Well, not just children, students, I should say. But also on how well they apply it. And furthermore, if any of them go on to teach what you have taught them, then you'll get a little piece of the payment for the net benefit generated to their students. So theoretically, if you're a teacher teaching people who will go out and teach others, you could become very wealthy indeed in this system. You get paid a different amount. The amount you get paid is based on the benefit derived from your work. So, for example, the people who will be paid the quickest and the highest would be people like garbage men and sanitation workers who keep us healthy by taking away all of the stuff we could catch diseases from, and doctors and so forth. But, the difference between those are night and day, obviously. A doctor has to go to school for many years to be a skilled surgeon and save lives. And that would be reflected in his income and how quickly he'd get his income, particularly if he was in a life-saving capacity where he saved lives every day. The benefit to those lives and the benefit that those lives generate when they're back in society and able to give back themselves, that's more of that exponential income that you would receive as a doctor. But the sanitation worker doesn't really require a whole lot of education. You don't even need to speak the language of your country in order to be a sanitation worker. But it's very important to everyone that we have garbage picked up and processed and so on and so forth. And the same would be true for waste treatment and septic tanks and all of that, because that keeps everybody from being subject to the diseases that we'd all have and that you see now in third world countries that don't have adequate sanitation. Excuse me. Under this system, all necessities would be free to the consumer. No matter how wealthy you are, necessities would cost you nothing. Basic necessities being food, clothing, shelter, probably basic transportation like the bus, health care, and anything related to your health, such as surgeries and whatnot. But of course, getting a boob job for cosmetic reasons, that would be considered a luxury. Education at all levels would cost nothing to the consumer. However, as I've stated previously, you see the people who teach you, the doctors who treat you, all the people who take care of you, they are paid based on the net benefit they generate by doing so. The net benefit is derived by taking overall benefit and subtracting any negative consequences. So, for example, if you sold someone a table and it collapsed, you might get paid a little less than you would if you sold them a table that continued to serve them for the next half a century. Which goes on to another important point, planned obsolescence, which we believe would become obsolete, thank God, under this system. This system rewards longevity. So the longer something would last and the more adaptable it could be, the more highly paid the creator would be. So for example, if you sold a computer to someone, instead of upgrades being a lot of physical hardware and equipment, most of the upgrades you would offer would probably be software and other things that didn't require somebody to fill up a landfill with last year's model. Wow. So I'm halfway through my time already and nobody's joining me. I really can talk about this system all day long. Let's touch on another aspect, which is the reputation component. Under this system, everybody would be known by the computer, and you would offer your reputation for somebody's scrutiny if you were seeking work or housing or whatnot. But the different components of your reputation will remain private unless you gave your explicit permission for somebody to view them. There would be a housing segment, an employment segment, and a personal segment. And for example, if you were going to go and rent, rent being a relative term, and I'll explain why in a minute, but if you were going to rent an apartment, you would show somebody your housing reputation to prove that you didn't trash the last 10 places you lived in. Now, excuse me, when you pay rent, say you agreed to pay $10 a month to live in an apartment. That's just arbitrary off the top of my head. I have no idea what amounts would be in this projected future we hope for. But say you agreed on $10 a month. Well, that $10 a month would just disappear from your account, but it wouldn't show up in the account of the owner of the property. The owner of the property might get $100 a month for your staying there if it benefited you significantly. Even more if you turned part of the property into a workshop and used it to generate benefit for others by producing something useful. As a matter of fact, the landlord might come along and say, well, you don't need to pay rent anymore because this place is your business now, and as such, it is making me more money, so you don't, that $10 is not going to come out of your account. And there's another aspect that we can discuss, and I'm just kind of running through things here, but when we have an actual discussion with other people here to join me, we won't just zip through them quite as quickly, hopefully. But there's just so many different components and parts, and that's why it's really important that you either get a physical copy of this book, Invisible Hand, or go to nopomstuff.info. That's NOPOM stuff.info, where we have the book in MP3 form so that you can download it and listen to it while you work out or whatever. It's in written form with some links. Excuse me. And we also have a library there of articles that further expound upon the ideas. But until you read the book, and maybe even read it 2 or 3 times, it doesn't sink in, and you may find it difficult to grasp these concepts. But trust me, once you get it, once that light bulb moment happens and you understand the beauty of this system, you'll want to join us in helping to make it come about. Somewhere, somehow, we believe we can do this. And I hope many of you will also be saying that very soon. The book itself came about after Larry, the author, in about 1973, had this epiphany and began to try to explain it to people. And he actually had this idea after a discussion in his class when he was teaching. His students sort of backed him into a corner with their questions, and when he thought everything through, this was the result. Well, after about 30 years of trying to get people to understand it and getting blank stares back, he developed the novel as a vehicle to help people understand it better. The story is not meant to be just simple entertainment. It's meant to serve as an illustration of how everything might work if we do this, or should I say when we do this, being hopeful. I see there's a couple viewers there. Is there anybody that wants to jump in and talk to me, or I don't know. Let me see if I can find the chat. If anybody's trying to talk to me, I'm still learning how to use this, so I'm not sure where the chat is. But hopefully, I gave you a little bit of an overview on some things that we may be discussing in the future. And next week I'm having surgery, so I won't be able to do this. But hopefully in 2 weeks, I'll be healed enough to get back on here. And I also will be getting Larry indoctrinated in how to join me. And once he's got that all figured out and we can actually have a conversation together, I'm sure this will be a lot more fun. I feel kind of funny sitting here talking to myself. I can see that there's 2 viewers, but nobody's popping up to join me, and I don't know if I'm supposed to let people in or, oh gosh. I guess we'll learn it as we go along. In the comments after the show is rendered as a video, I will be happy to answer anything that I can't right now because I don't know where the chat is at the moment, and I still feel kind of half blind here. But this was an icebreaker, putting this video up to just get us started with the live version. I'm sorry for the past couple of weeks. We've been AWOL. And I hope that when we get back to it, that we'll have some wonderful, lively discussions here for everybody to start really getting their teeth into this concept. I can't tell you how much different I feel the world would be if we do this and fundamentally change the way money works here and worldwide. I mean, but it's got to start somewhere. The larger and quicker it spreads, the better everything can be. I mean, to have a sort of money that can't be used for bad things like war or putting out a hit on someone or any number of terrible negative things would be a great start in the right direction. But to tell you that without you having read the book may make you uncomfortable. The fact that everyone will be known to the computer system makes a lot of people uncomfortable. But guess what? That's going to happen anyway. We're going to have cameras everywhere. We're going to have a lot of the aspects, regardless of whether we like it or not. Our conjecture is, well, if we're going to have cameras everywhere, who do you want watching them? Some kind of government minders or bored neighbors that can help prevent assaults and kidnappings and so forth by watching the cameras all over the neighborhood? There's so much good that can be done from having cameras everywhere if the right people are watching. But, you know, you can't possibly pay enough people to watch everybody. If you have people watching the cameras just because they're bored and have nothing better to do, it's amazing what they might be able to do to benefit the world that way. And they'd be paid for it in this system. They prevent a rape or an assault or a robbery or a kidnapping. They're going to be handsomely paid for having been watching the camera and making sure that that was ended or prevented. And I don't know about you, but I like the idea of being able to prevent crimes instead of solving them or dealing with them after the fact. I mean, overall, this system reduces the need for government. It reduces the need for law enforcement personnel. It reduces the likelihood that we're all going to be under some fascist dictator's boot. And I look forward to the day when the weapons and machinery of war are repurposed and melted down and recreated into tools for exploring under the ocean or outer space and to benefit mankind instead of tearing ourselves apart. Well, I really look forward to future shows where I actually have a conversation instead of a monologue, but this one was off the top of my head. I didn't prepare a speech or anything. I just decided to go for it and give it a shot, so I hope it didn't turn out too terribly bad. And hopefully some of you will give me tips for next time and tell me how I add people and whatever else I need to know, because there's got to be something I'm missing here. Or maybe there's not. I don't even know. I don't even know who's watching. Is it somebody I know? Beats me. Hi, whoever's watching, and thanks for tuning in when nobody else did. If you're trying to join me or talk to me, I'm really sorry. I don't know where the chat is or how to add other participants to the Hangout. But as time goes on, hopefully by this time next year it'll be old hat. And we'll have so many people that they won't even all fit in our Hangout anymore. Here's hoping. And in the meantime, please do read the book or download the MP3s from the website, which after the video has been rendered, I will put a banner up on the screen with the URL. But that's NOPOMSTUFF.info. NoPalmStuff.info. And I think you can still get there if you just go to nopom.info, NOPOM.info. I think I have that domain forwarded to the other one as well. And please let us know if you have any ideas, suggestions, graphics that you want us to use, anything related to what we're trying to do. We're open to any kind of suggestions and ideas. One of the things that I hope, or we hope, will come in the future is a TV series. I'm leaning towards animated, so if any of you have that sort of talent, please contact us. We would like to take the novel and break it down into episodes. Animated seems like the best route to go. If somebody has other ideas, please let us know. We're not getting anywhere on our own, so the more suggestions we can get from people who know what they're doing, the better. Please, by all means, take the banner up and run with it. Gosh. I guess there's really not that much more for me to say. I mean, I'm just trying to fill the dead air right now for a couple more minutes, but for the most part, this is it. So, thank you again for tuning in, and if you're watching this after it's been rendered as a video, thank you for bothering to watch my rambling all the way to the end. I really appreciate it, and please comment below and tell me anything you want, but please be nice. All right, I'm going off the air now. Have a good one, and see you in a couple weeks after my surgery. Bye.